Mr. President, distinguished members of the Security Council, thank you for the opportunity to brief on the latest developments in Eastern DRC. Encouraging progress was made in recent months, notably with the signing on 27 June in Washington, D.C., of a peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, facilitated by the United States, followed on 19 July by the signing of a declaration of principles between the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Alliance Fleuve Congo, AFC M23. We appreciate all the efforts of the United States and Qatar to bring peace to the DRC. The inaugural meetings of the Joint Oversight Committee and Joint Security Coordination Mechanism, foreseen in the 27 June Agreement, were held on 31st July and on 7th and 8th August, respectively, and helped lay the groundwork for the implementation of the agreement. Efforts are also underway to develop a regional framework for economic integration as provided for in the agreement. Furthermore, representatives of the DRC government and the AFC M23 have been meeting again in Doha, Qatar, over the last few days to build on their declaration of principles, address obstacles to its implementation, and make way towards a full-fledged peace agreement. Meanwhile, a joint virtual summit of the East African Community and the South African Development Community, held on 13th August, endorsed the merger of the mandate of the 5 EAC SADC facilitators with that of the African Union-led mediation, led by President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo. A joint ad hoc technical secretariat placed under the African Union is being set up in Addis Ababa to support this process. Both President Faure Gnassingbé and the facilitators have conducted extensive consultations. The United Nations has provided support where needed. Mr. President, regrettably, the evolution of the security situation on the ground has not matched the progress achieved on the diplomatic front, while the parties are yet to comply with their obligations under Security Council Resolution 2773. The number of civilian casualties has risen dramatically. Humanitarian workers are risking their lives to provide limited assistance to a population whose needs continue to grow. Conflict-related sexual violence persists amid general indifference. The forced recruitment of children continues. As the school year is about to start, thousands of other children will be unable to go to school because of insecurity. Despite a relative lull in direct clashes, the parties continue to deploy troops and transfer weapons along the front lines. Mr. President, in North Kivu, the conflict has escalated significantly since April. The AFC M23 has continued to make incremental territorial gains in Masisi, Walikale, and Lubero territories, capturing ground from local armed groups operating under the Wazalendo umbrella. On 6th August, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, issued a statement indicating that according to credible reports received by the UN Human Rights Office, at least 319 civilians, including at least 48 women and 19 children, were killed by the AFC M23 backed by members of the Rwanda Defense Force, between 9th and 21st July in 4 villages in Rushuru territory in North Kivu province. These killings were the harrowing result of a military campaign targeting traditional strongholds of the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR. During these operations, health centers and infrastructure have been destroyed, villages burned, crops confiscated, and many civilians have been forced to flee or toil as laborers against their will. The fact that FDLR and Nyatura fighters have blended into the population, occasionally attacking isolated M23 and Rwandan Defense Forces positions, has only heightened the ambient fear and mistrust. In South Kivu, the front lines have remained mostly stable. Continuing clashes, however, risk exacerbating interethnic tensions. In Ituri, the security situation has deteriorated sharply since early July, despite the progress made in the context of the inter-armed groups dialogue held in Aru from 23rd to 29th June. Zaire factions affiliated with the Convention pour la Révolution Populaire, CRP, led by Thomas Lubanga, have intensified their operations against government army positions, also occasionally targeting civilians. Codeco has also resumed hostilities, in part in response to CRP activities. In both North Kivu and Ituri provinces, the Allied Democratic Forces continue to pose a major threat to civilians. 185 civilians, including children, have been killed since the beginning of July. Hundreds have also been kidnapped over the same period. Following the Commander massacre of 27 June, which claimed 43 lives, including 19 women and 9 children, the ADF has continued to perpetrate killings on a daily basis. Between 11th and 18th August, in the Grand Nord of North Kivu alone, the ADF killed approximately 50 civilians, including 7 women and 2 children. It set homes on fire and abducted an unknown number of civilians. Mr. President, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is currently facing one of the most acute humanitarian emergencies in the world. Food insecurity is rising as families lose access to their fields and see their harvests confiscated. Today, 5.9 million Congolese are internally displaced, including 1 million in North Kivu and 1.5 million in South Kivu. Families are repeatedly uprooted, caught in a cycle of fear and constant displacement. This relentless instability not only erodes social cohesion, but threatens any prospect for long-term peace and recovery. We cannot and must not accept the extreme suffering and recurrent horrors that are commonplace in Eastern DRC. To protect civilians, restore some law and order, and address the profound humanitarian needs of the population, the parties must cease hostilities. They must respect and comply with their obligations under Resolution 2773 in their entirety, with the sustained support of this Council and the international community. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Security Council, the adoption by the DRC and Rwanda of the terms of reference of the Joint Oversight Committee and the Joint Coordination Mechanism of the Washington Agreement and the Declaration of Principles for a Regional Economic Integration Framework are encouraging. It should be emphasized at the same time that while commitment to process is welcome, it is no substitute for an actual cessation of hostilities on the ground and genuine steps to end the privations of conflict in Eastern DRC. Much more work remains to be done, including to strengthen coordination and coherence between the various peace initiatives underway. In line with its mandate, MONUSCO remains committed to leveraging its capabilities and expertise in support of all ongoing peace efforts. Next week, the Special Envoy of the Secretary General for the Great Lakes region, Juan Xia, will travel to Angola, which holds the chairmanship of the African Union, to discuss how the United Nations can best support African-led peace efforts. Meanwhile, the roadmap drawn by the DRC's main religious confessions for an inclusive dialogue is an important step towards deepening national ownership of current peace efforts. It aims to address the deep-rooted social, political, and economic drivers of conflict and instability in the DRC. At this critical juncture for the DRC and the region, it is vital that this Council place its full weight behind current peace efforts, alongside exerting its influence to ensure respect for and compliance with Resolution 2773. All parties must live up to their commitments and obligations. They must place at the center of their concerns the well-being of the millions of the men, women, and children who continue to bear the brunt of the ongoing crisis. While the situation on the ground remains dire, there is every reason to hope that with the genuine engagement of the parties and the concerted support of the international community, peace for the people of Eastern DRC is possible. Thank you for your attention.
Agradezco a la señora.
I thank Ms. Pobi for her briefing. I now give the floor to those council members who wish to make statements.